Hello and welcome to Mr. Z TV. I am Mr. Z, and today I bring you a very cool game between mRz, and Nerchio. So this will be a Terran vs Zerg, and let's see what these players decide to do. It looks like they're having a little friendly banter, and TVZ, one of my favorite matchups. I love watching how players try to force their way around the difficulties of the Ling Baneling Muta and the heavier marine tank play in TVZ. So, let's see what these players have to show for us. Oh, and looks like already a supply depot at the bottom of Strelok's ramp. And this will prevent any kind of early scouting by the Zerg player. But the two players have spawned on cross positions on Lost Temples, so the Zerg player probably wouldn't have gotten that scout in time anyways. But nevertheless, kind of an interesting choice when Terran players opt to do this kind of thing. Of course, the Zerg player will almost never be able to scout the gas geysers and see what exactly the Terran player is doing. So, the Terran player can choose to do any kind of 2 racks aggression with followed up by an expansion, or he can opt to tech up to maybe Hellions or even Banshees, but that might be a little bit of a stretch. The timing for Banshees is a bit longer, and we see Nerchio taking the 15 hatch. So everything fairly standard. None of the players have scouted yet. Nerchio knows that his opponent hasn't spawned in the close air positions, as his overlord did fly over to that position first. But as these two players start becoming more settled in this game, they will be sending out their scouts like they are just right now. Nerchio is going to be sending his scout to the close ground positions, and the same for Strelok. So Nerchio is going to immediately know, oh, I wonder if Strelok saw that overlord. Very interesting. So Nerchio is going to know exactly where Strelok is right now, but Strelok still has no idea. Not a big deal, because it looks like this SCV is going for the right position. And that drone popping on the Xel'Naga tower surely saw that SCV already. Meanwhile, in Strelok's base, we have a gas geyser going down. So no crazy 2 racks. It looks like he's going to go for the factory first, and there's the drone transfer. Strelok scouting into his opponent's base now, and he's going to see that everything's fairly standard for the Zerg player. Expansion is up, the pool is up, and the gas mining to get that speed upgrade here. And it looks like 3 Marines streaming across the map. I do believe that drone did see that. Yep, the drone sees them coming with some good scouting on the Xel'Naga. And we'll have to see what Strelok plans to do with this. I don't think Strelok is going to go for some kind of all-out attack. As first of all, I mean, it's way too early in the game to have enough units to make a very decisive move. And it looks like that SCV does get picked off by these Zerglings. So, Strelok just forcing the Zerg player to be a little bit less comfortable than he would like, forcing the Zerg player to make more Zerglings than he would like. Nerchio probably wants to be making as many drones as he can right now, but he's forced to put up that spine crawler and the Zerglings. As we can see here, he hasn't been able to scout up into the base, so there could be the possibility that Strelok has just been massing a ton of Marines, in which case Nerchio would be in big trouble if he pushed up to his front door without any defenses. Oh no, and the Hellion gets past the ramp, and here comes a Hellion. It's going to be able to probably not do as critical damage as a Hellion could potentially do if it was a slightly more numerous, but doing some very good kiting against the Zerglings and taking all of them down to yellow health. It looks like the Marines have been repelled, however. For the most part, I do think they got, nope, there they are, just doing some good scouting on the side. I wonder if they've gotten any kills. And no, it doesn't look like any of them do have any kills. But this Hellion's still in the Zerg player's base, and it will take down that last Ling. So, not substantial damage, but still very important. And look at that, pulling the drones to block the Hellion in, and Nerchio with some very good control is able to take down that Hellion. Meanwhile, Strelok just pulling back his Marines, pulling back that one Hellion, and he's trying to see what he's trying to find any Overlord he can to snipe. I do think that was why he moved off to the side over here, just trying to catch every single Overlord, and that is really a sign of a strong player, where he knows how comfortable he can be with moving his troops around the map. And here we go, 3 racks following up the factory, and an expansion now for Strelok. This reactor factory is going to be able to allow Strelok to pump out a lot of Hellions and give him some good map control. After he gets a certain amount, the Zerglings are not going to be enough for the Zerg player to hold a comfortable map control advantage. So let's see what Strelok does with this factory. And it looks like he's content with just 6 Hellions. He's going to be switching off that factory with the barracks, and now going to go into a lot of Marine production. We see a single Marauder here. That's kind of an interesting decision. Oh, no, and a second one and a third one. So it looks like Strelok wants to opt to get a few Marauders into the mix, and I like that very much, to stop that kind of Baneling, to make dealing with Banelings just a little bit easier. Stim on the way, and it looks like Strelok is gearing up to do some heavy bio play in just a moment here. These Hellions just going to poke up and see what damage they can do. A lot of Queens out for Nerchio. Queens are a very good defensive unit, so I like this choice, especially with Nerchio's lack of scouting. It could be anything, including Banshees, but he does see that the expansion is down. But you can never count out the Banshee harass option from Terran players, especially when the Terran player has been showing so many gas light units, only showing Marines, only showing Hellions. And so Nerchio has got to be very careful not to lose to any kind of a silly Banshee attack. Roaches are now out for Nerchio, so that is quite interesting. And Burrow and Aspire down. So Nerchio kind of avoiding the Baneling nest for a long time, and now only putting that down. These Lings are going to be swinging around the map just to see what they can scout. But it looks like Strelok is on top of that, and now he's pushing out with a sizable amount of bio units added on to his 6 Hellions. So I don't think Blue Flame is upgraded, so the Hellion's not going to be quite as strong without that upgrade. And the Marauders are stimming and going for the Spinecrawler. I really like that move. And here comes the Roaches, and this is a very strong army composition by Strelok. It's almost, I feel like it's almost perfectly, sorry, what's the term I'm looking for? Either way, the Zerglings are fried by the Hellions, and just a single Marauder left and 5 Marines for Strelok, so he will be pushing back, not doing any kind of substantial damage. Mostly the Zerglings were eliminated for Nerchio, but now his Mutalisk is, the Spire is done and Mutalisks are out. Burrow is about to finish, so I'm curious to see what Nerchio wants to do with that Burrow upgrade, perhaps looking for some Roach Micro. But here we go, more Zerglings streaming in, and they will be quickly defeated by this curious little composition that the Terran player is moving around with. And here comes a poor little drone, and that will surely die. Now, Nerchio moving these spine crawlers forward. I really like this. Extending the use of those early spine crawlers are really nice. And look at that, transfuse, very good. But that's a lot of Marines from Strelok. He's just been pumping a lot of Marines, and that's I think that might be handy enough to take down this army from Nerchio, and he's going to be in big trouble now. Unless he's making a lot of Lings, he really needs those Banelings out. The Mutalisks almost immediately evaporate to the Marine fire, and look at that, Strelok starting to do a little bit of that micro, and now he's going to try to clean up these Roaches, but it seems like for the most part the Marine count has been eliminated, and Nerchio will finally be able to clean that up. Let's go to the income tab. The Zerg player slightly behind, but that is actually much more than slightly. Here comes the Mutalisk harass here, gonna take out a few workers and close up that gap between the income count. Now, Nerchio has to be very careful with these Mutalisks, because it is really the threat of the Mutalisks that will be valuable to Nerchio right now, and he's just trying to worm his way around. And I like this. Strelok has left Marines here, so he's going to be able to do enough damage to these Mutalisks. Will he take down a single Mutalisk? And it looks like, yes, he does. He takes down one Mutalisk just using good positioning, and it looks like this turret might get another one, and no, the turret does not manage to take down another Mutalisk. So 4 Mutalisks out of the 6 that went into the base to do some harass. And Nerchio just slowly making his way back from the deficit he suffered from that very well thought out early push by Strelok. I liked how he had a handful of Marauders, a handful of Marines, and some Hellions against Nerchio's Roach Ling Mutalisk kind of composition, and there's a third by Nerchio, and I wonder if he's going to be taking a quick fourth at this high yield. But Nerchio certainly very late on his third. You really want that third a bit quicker on it against the 2-basing Terran, but it was very difficult to do with that Hellion contain, the soft contain that Strelok had at the beginning of the game. But let's see what Strelok has in terms of his planning now. Banelings are out for Nerchio. Let's go check if Baneling speed is done. And no, it's in progress. And these Mutalisks fly in to do more harass, and taking down those add-ons on the unit-producing facilities of the Terran player is just so key. It looks like he's going to try to snipe down a few Marines. Will he lose any Mutalisks? And no, it looks like he does clean up the Marines. Very nice. And doesn't lose a single Mutalisk, so the damage capacity is still at maximum. And the Mutalisks will finally be pushed out by a couple of Marines. And the third for Strelok. So the Zerg player very behind in bases. He's double expanding now. And you can see that already Nerchio trying to get gas. And that's really what the Zerg player wants. He wants more gas to be able to make more Banelings, more Mutalisks. And that's really what's going to help you be very solid against the Terran composition. And look at this Marine sandwich once again. Strelok just so good at positioning his units. So good at repelling this Mutalisk harass so far. But Nerchio, with some very nice control, able to poke in anyways and do slight damage, but definitely not as much as he would like with Strelok's very fantastic position. And looks like he does snipe down a tank. And will he get this second one? He's losing a lot of Mutalisks. And no, the tank survives with 8 health remaining. And it looks like the Mutalisk will kill that SCV at the Xalnaga. Every little advantage you can get is important at this stage for Nerchio, because he is behind in bases, behind in economy. But let's see what Strelok will do to capitalize on the fact that he has a higher economic income right now. And a nice missile turret placement by Strelok, going to make sure that this base isn't penetrated by any kind of attacks. Putting that planetary fortress down there, I like that choice. It's very difficult for a Zerg to break a planetary fortress because Zerglings just evaporate so quickly, and with a couple of turrets, it's not that viable for Mutalisks to go for that planetary fortress unless you get an absurd amount of them. And as you can tell, in this game, Nerchio was kind of behind in his expansion, so he's not going to have enough gas to support a massive amount of Mutalisks. But now, the space is up, and it's going to be mining gas. I really wouldn't mind seeing Nerchio mine gas out of this base, too. And, you know, the harvester count is getting to that point where really the Zerg player is going to be done with making workers, but the Terran player has followed very nicely, keeping very even on bases, and has traded some very nice blows. You can see that the income count is fairly even for both. More Banelings here, and here comes an attack. He will snipe down another tank, but Strelok coming in with a lot of Marines, going to push those Mutalisks away, and you know, Nerchio is just desperately trying to take down as many tanks as he can, because that's going to be the key unit that will stop the Banelings, and I like this move by Strelok. He's going to be loading up a few Marines. Uh-oh, and will the medevac be caught? It looks like it will, and he loses a medevac full of Marines. I like that move initially, but Nerchio just being very good about moving his Mutalisks around the map, utilizing that air control that the Mutalisks give him. And that's just very fine play. And look at that hotkey set, very interesting. It looks like Nerchio doing a lot of hotkey switching. You know, I really do prefer the finesse of being able to control your units individually on individual hotkeys, but it looks like there's some harass on the side here. The medevac doing a little bit of drop, and just now I was just saying how good Nerchio was about moving his medevac around, and look at this attack, just ferrying the units onto the high ground with that medevac, and let's see if Nerchio spots it. No, he doesn't suspect a thing. There is a little bit of a blind spot, and a drop at the main also. Oh my goodness, Strelok just all over the place right now, and here comes the Mutalisks and the Banelings. It looks like these Marines are cornered, and everything will fall to the Baneling, Zergling, and